When the battle was over, Ashoka walked onto the field. The Kalinga War had lasted several months. The Maurya Empire had crushed the independent kingdom of Kalinga in what is now the eastern Indian state of Odisha. His own inscription records what happened. 100,000 people killed in battle, 150,000 more deported. Unknown numbers dead from wounds, starvation, disease in the months that followed. Ashoka was one of the most powerful men on earth. He had armies that could destroy kingdoms. He had just proven it. He looked at what he had done and, by his own recorded account, felt something he had never felt before. He called it grief. He wrote about it publicly, on stone, in language that no conqueror before him had ever used. He admitted he had caused suffering on a scale that could not be justified. He said he would never launch another war of conquest. He kept that promise for the rest of his 37-year reign. Ashoka was born around 304 BCE, a prince of the Maurya Empire. The dynasty founded by his grandfathers, Chandragupta Maurya, which had already unified most of the Indian subcontinent. His father was Emperor Bindusara. Ashoka was not the favored heir. When Bindusara died, a war of succession followed. Buddhist texts describe Ashoka killing 99 brothers to take the throne. The actual number is certainly exaggerated. Buddhist chronicles often are. What is not disputed is that Ashoka fought his way to power, and that others died in the process. He was not, in his early reign, known for gentleness. He governed a vast empire with the tools of the time: military force, taxation, the infrastructure of a bureaucratic state. The early Ashoka was a competent, aggressive ruler in the manner of his era. Then came Kalinga. The kingdom of Kalinga had never been conquered by the Maurya Empire. It was one of the few significant holdouts. Ashoka moved against it around 261 BCE. What happened militarily was total success. The Maurya army overwhelmed Kalinga's forces. The state was absorbed into the empire. What happened afterward is documented in Ashoka's own words. Rock Edict is one of the most extraordinary documents in ancient history. Not because of what it claims about victory, but because of what it admits about cost. Ashoka wrote that the killing troubled him, that the sight of people displaced, the families of those killed, the people who had known the dead, produced in him a pain that he had not anticipated. He wrote, "If 100th or 1,000th part of those who died in Kalinga were killed, it would be a matter of great sorrow to me." This is not the language of ancient conquerors. Ancient conquerors boasted. Ashoka published his regret, carved it into stone pillars across his empire, and left it for centuries. In the aftermath of Kalinga, Ashoka converted seriously to Buddhism. He had encountered Buddhist teachings before. He had been a practicing lay Buddhist for some years. But after Kalinga, it became central to how he governed. He stopped eating meat. He banned animal sacrifices at court. He built hospitals for humans and for animals, both. He planted trees along roads for shade. He dug wells along trade routes. He established rest houses at intervals for travelers. He called his governing philosophy the Dhamma, a Prakrit word for the Buddhist concept of righteous conduct. His edicts instructed officials to treat their subjects as children they were responsible for. He asked that religious tolerance be practiced across his empire, at a time when that concept had rarely appeared in the vocabulary of governance. He sent his son Mahinda, or possibly his daughter Sanghamita, the texts differ, to Sri Lanka to spread Buddhism. The mission succeeded. Sri Lanka remains a majority Buddhist nation today. To communicate with his empire, Ashoka used stone. He commissioned at least 33 major pillars, tall sandstone columns, some over 12 meters high, placed at pilgrimage sites and major towns across the subcontinent. He had his edicts inscribed on cliff faces, cave walls, and boulders. The inscriptions appear in multiple languages: Brahmi, Greek, Aramaic, depending on which population was being addressed. The pillars were topped with carved lions or other animals. The most famous is the lion capital from Sarnath, 4 lions standing back to back on a circular base, which was adopted as India's national emblem in 1950. It appears on every rupee note, every official Indian document, every government seal. Below the lions, the base shows a wheel with 24 spokes. That wheel, the Ashoka chakra, appears at the center of the Indian national flag. Ashoka has been dead for more than 2,000 years. His symbol flies over every government building in the world's most populous country. After Ashoka's death around 232 BCE, the Maurya Empire declined rapidly. Within 50 years, it had fragmented. The dynasties that followed had different priorities. Ashoka's inscriptions remained standing, but his name was forgotten. The Brahmi script in which his edicts were written was no longer readable. For more than 1,000 years, Europeans and most of the world had no idea who Ashoka was. He was rediscovered in 1837, when a British scholar named James Prinsep decoded the Brahmi script and found, on the pillars, the repeated signature of a king calling himself Devanampya Piyadasi, beloved of the gods, he who looks with kindness. Cross-referencing with Buddhist chronicles eventually identified this figure as Ashoka. The world had largely forgotten one of history's most consequential rulers for over a millennium, because the writing on his monuments had become unreadable. Historians debate what to make of Ashoka. The edicts are extraordinary primary sources, but they are also propaganda. Ashoka wrote them, had them carved at his own direction, and used them to project a particular image of himself. Was the grief over Kalinga genuine? Probably, at least in part. It is unusual for a ruler to advertise his own remorse if there is no authentic basis for the claim. Did the policies work? The absence of further conquest is verifiable. The hospitals, wells, and roads are referenced in multiple sources. Whether the tolerance edicts were widely practiced is harder to measure. What the record shows is a man who fought his way to one of history's largest empires, won a war that devastated 100,000 people, and then spent the next 37 years trying to govern differently. He is not remembered as a saint by historians. He is remembered as someone who, uniquely among the conquerors of his era, looked at what conquest produced and changed his mind. The Dragon Throne covers the people history is still trying to categorize. The conquerors who quit, the emperors who wept, the rulers whose symbols outlasted everything they built. Subscribe, and we'll keep going.